It started with a clip. Just one. Meghan Markle, bending down at a public event, smiling, poised, glowing until her baby bump did something no one expected. It folded. Not stretched. Not shifted. Folded like fabric. And once the internet saw it, there was no going back. It was just a moment. A few seconds of footage that, at first, looked completely normal. Meghan Markle, bending down gracefully at a public event. She smiled. She waved. She looked like the picture of elegance until something strange happened. Her baby bump folded. Not shifted. Not stretched. It folded like fabric creasing under pressure. And the internet? It didn't miss a beat. Within hours, the clip was everywhere. Zoomed in. Slowed down. Replayed frame by frame. People weren't just watching, they were investigating. Was it real? Was it padded? Was her pregnancy something more complicated than anyone had realized? That single clip cracked the door open. And once it did, the theories came flooding in. At first, people joked. The memes started rolling moon bump, they called it. Late-night comedians had their fun, brushing it off as just another internet rabbit hole. But something about it wouldn't go away. Because the more people looked, the stranger it all seemed. Why did the bump look so different from day to day? Why did it bounce, flatten, even seem to vanish at times? And then, the palace said nothing. No denial. No statement. Not even a whisper. Normally, the royals are quick to shut down wild rumors, especially when they touch the family. But this time, silence. And that silence did something dangerous. It made people curious. Because when the people closest to the truth say nothing, the internet starts digging for it themselves. Meghan's pregnancy announcement came during a royal tour, strategic, polished, and perfectly timed for headlines. But eagle-eyed royal watchers spotted something odd almost immediately. In some photos, her bump looked high and firm. Days later, smaller, lower, practically gone. Even within the same week, the size and shape seemed to shift dramatically. People weren't just nitpicking, these were longtime followers of royal protocol. They'd seen Kate go through 3 pregnancies under the spotlight, and everything followed a strict, almost militarized routine. Royal doctors, official scans, hospital steps, public statements. Meghan? She skipped all of it. No royal doctors. No shared reports. No traditional hospital photos. Instead, she brought in her own private team and completely shut out the palace medical staff. That wasn't just unusual. In royal terms, it was unheard of. And to the people inside the palace, that's when the red flags really started to go up. Kate had seen enough royal pregnancies to know when something felt off. At first, she stayed quiet. But as the whispers grew louder inside the palace, she started paying closer attention, not as a critic, but as someone who knew the drill. And what she saw didn't sit right. Meghan was constantly cradling her bump. Not occasionally, constantly. Both hands. Standing still. Even during interviews. It didn't look like instinctive tenderness. It looked like someone trying to keep something in place. And Kate wasn't the only one watching. Behind the scenes, seasoned palace staff, people who had been through years of royal events, started to notice odd patterns. Meetings missed at the last minute. Events canceled without clear reason. Medical updates that just never came. These weren't interns or part-time assistants. These were loyal, discreet staffers, trusted by the monarchy for decades. And when they started whispering, people listened. Especially Prince William. At first, William brushed it all off: online rumors, internet theories, the usual noise. But when the concerns started coming from inside the palace, from people he'd trusted his entire life, he couldn't ignore it anymore. These were aides who had been with the family since before he and Harry could walk. People who never gossiped, never speculated. And suddenly, even they were saying something didn't add up. William started connecting the dots. Timelines weren't lining up. Photos didn't match the supposed stages of pregnancy. Security briefings, event schedules, none of it was consistent. And there was something else, something William had learned the hard way from his family's history. If you don't control the story controls you. So he stopped waiting for answers. He went looking for them. That's when the palace security team brought something unexpected to William's attention: internal surveillance footage. Not leaked, not public, just routine recordings that suddenly didn't feel routine at all. In one clip, Meghan walks through a hallway, adjusting something beneath her dress. In another, she discreetly hands a soft, bundled item to an aide just before stepping into a private room. Nothing incriminating, but definitely odd. The staff who reviewed the footage didn't say much, but they didn't have to. The looks on their faces said enough. These weren't tabloid rumors anymore. This was inside the palace. And for the first time, even the most loyal aides didn't know what or who to believe. That's when William and Kate realized they weren't just dealing with a scandal. They were facing something that could quietly unravel everything the monarchy stood for. Kate had stayed quiet long enough. She wasn't angry. She wasn't looking for drama. But the inconsistencies were too many and too strange to ignore. So she arranged a private meeting. No press, no staff, just the two of them. She brought it up gently but directly. The bump, the doctors, the videos. Kate didn't accuse, she asked. Calm, composed, concerned. But Meghan didn't take it that way. The mood shifted instantly. She felt blindsided, accused, judged. And then Harry got involved. What began as a quiet conversation spiraled into a clash. Voices were raised. Walls went up. Trust broke down fast. That one meeting changed everything. From that point forward, the distance between the couples wasn't just emotional, it was visible. Invitations were ignored. Messages went unanswered. And the once close bond between them? It was gone. Just like that. After that confrontation, everything shifted. At first, it was subtle, no shows at private dinners, polite but distant interactions at public events. Family group chats went quiet. Invitations were left hanging. The warmth that once connected the two couples had turned cold overnight. Then came the headline that hit like a thunderclap. Meghan and Harry stepped back from royal duties. To the public, it looked like a modern couple carving out their own future. A bold, independent move. But inside the palace? It felt like the final move in a plan that had been unfolding for months. The tension, the secrecy, the unexplained choices, it all added up. This wasn't a spontaneous decision. This was an exit strategy. Behind the scenes, the mood changed fast. William and Kate went into quiet damage control, not for the press, but for the monarchy itself. Because whatever this was, it wasn't just about Meghan and Harry anymore. It was about protecting the institution from something no one fully understood. Once Meghan and Harry stepped back, the palace stayed silent. But the internet? It went into overdrive. Screenshots were analyzed. Clips were stitched together. Outfits were compared across timelines. And then came the term that caught fire: phantom bump. It was everywhere. Podcasters dissected every appearance. Online sleuths tracked how the bump moved, grew, and even at times disappeared. Theories exploded across forums. Was it vanity? Privacy? A surrogate no one was allowed to mention? Words like prosthetic, cover-up, and staged weren't whispered anymore. They were trending. The media still tiptoed around it. But the online world didn't hold back. To some, it was just conspiracy clickbait. But to others, it felt like a puzzle the palace desperately wanted to bury. And all the while, William and Kate kept their silence. Perfect posture. Perfect smiles. But behind their eyes? You could tell they'd seen enough. William and Kate never responded, not with statements, not with interviews. They smiled for the cameras. They attended events with grace. But behind closed doors, William made one thing clear. He wanted answers. Not because he cared about rumors, he didn't. But because he understood the stakes. If any part of Meghan's pregnancy had been fabricated, or even exaggerated, it wouldn't just damage her. It would shatter the credibility of the entire royal family. And when that trust breaks, it doesn't come back. Kate, ever the diplomat, focused on their children, their roles, and keeping the monarchy's image intact. But even she couldn't shake the feeling that they'd witnessed a moment in history. A fracture in the foundation. A rupture in trust that may never fully heal. The public never got a clear answer. Meghan gave birth. Photos were posted. The family smiled. But the questions? They never went away. They echoed. Quietly. Relentlessly. Through palace halls, through headlines, through whispers that still haven't stopped. Because some stories don't need a final chapter. They just refuse to end. Now here's the real question. Do you think there's more to the story than we've been told? Drop your thoughts in the comments, whether you believe the rumors, think it was all speculation, or saw something we missed.